have any plans to enter the field of artificial intelligence? And in general, what are your thoughts on it? Do you think it's even close to being ready for prime time?
I think we should be very careful about artificial intelligence. If I were to guess at what our biggest existential threat is, it's probably that. So we need to be very careful with artificial intelligence. I'm increasingly inclined to think that there should be some regulatory oversight maybe at the national and international level, just to make sure that we don't do something very foolish. With artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon. You know all those stories where there's the guy with the pentagram and the holy water, and he's like, yeah, sure, you can control the demon.
Summoning the demon. When demons are summoned, what happens?
I think you have a lot to say. You and every other person in this city. Believe me, the message is loud and clear. I'm the problem. Got it. You know what? I think that's the first honest thing I've heard you say. You are the problem. What, you want to get in my face? You want to threaten me? Nobody's threatening you right now. You're barking up the wrong tree, okay? You know, this whole victim persona that you're taking on, it might have...
So here we are. We're at the very end of 2025. We're going into 2026. And from the very opening gate of 2025, it has been no holds barred, all hell breaking loose. And for some reason, they are disclosing right now, without a doubt, no two ways about it, whether you care or whether you don't. But they have convinced about 95% of the public into believing that what they're going to disclose are aliens that are here to help humanity with climate change and war and all sorts of different things, when in fact, I've told you this story before, exactly why these UFOs are here, when they got here, and it all started with Babylon working. Because in 1946, in a Pasadena mansion, standing naked and chanting ancient incantations by candlelight, Jack Parsons, the brilliant rocket engineer who co-founded JPL, or Jet Propulsion's laboratory, and developed the solid rocket fuel that would launch America into space, was a devoted follower of Aleister Crowley, performing elaborate sex magic rituals to summon what he called the Moon Child. Now remember that, the Moon Child. Weeks after he completed this unbelievable summoning ceremony, the Babylon working, something crashed in the desert near Roswell, New Mexico, and they originally came out and said exactly what it was. It was a metal object that felt like water in their hands when they tried to pick it up. They couldn't cut it, they couldn't bend it, they couldn't break it, and then suddenly that story turned into, it's a weather balloon. But what had happened is Jack Parsons, Aleister Crowley, and L. Ron Hubbard had accidentally torn the veil and couldn't figure out how to close it. A lot like Solomon. So in 1947, the alien spacecraft sightings started showing up all over the place. And deep in the Pentagon, a secret group was formed with one terrifying mission, investigating whether America's space program had accidentally opened a doorway into something far more sinister than extraterrestrial visitors. And they called themselves the Collins Elite. Now, the reason I showed all those nuclear explosions is that's what they used to thin the veil. Because many times during these Trinity explosions, they were doing ceremonies, and the test for the nuclear facilities or the nuclear abilities were just a cover. They were simply thinning the veil, and they indeed did do so. And then once they got that done, they got information to build things like CERN, to build things like ITER, to build things that we don't even know about, but especially the technology. These guys just love the technology. And there was a group that I've talked about before called the Collins Elite that were trying to stop this, but doesn't look like they did very well because Satan is the ruler of this place. These are not interstellar, benign aliens. These are interdimensional, lying, scumbag demons, and they want your soul. And they're making themselves known absolutely everywhere. I mean, you can't miss it. They're everywhere you look. People in planes are getting exact Cthulhu type.
Okay, I want to go back to that. I played these clips for a reason. It talks about, he has here, he talks about when L. Ron Hubbard did these tests, there we go. It says, are aliens really demons? They were summoning demons. And this particular demon that Aleister Crowley summoned was called Lamb. And he looks very much like a so-called alien. Yes, aliens really are demons. There are many commonalities between what we call an alien life form and a demonic entity. Well, they've been doing this, and the veil, like as Richie, and I will recommend this video, very good. Richie was saying that they were summoning, these entities since, the 1940s into our environment, and the veil has been thinning. Into our dimension, I should say. The barriers between the dimensions where these fallen angels / demons / aliens exist has now been thinned. They have thinned the veil. And that is why people are seeing now all these different entities and demons and strange phenomenon in the sky and all this. But this is a very good video that Richie did, but I will go one step further. The reason why they are summoning these aliens these demonic entities want to go somewhere, and that is to breach the veil between the human body. And if certain individuals have taken certain pharmaceutical processes into their beings, they have now become open portals that have now been opened into their temples. Because what are we told in Scripture that our bodies are? Do you not know, 1 Corinthians 3:16, that you are the temple of God and that the Spirit of God dwells in you? Well, people's temples, certain individuals' temples who have allowed certain frameworks and certain pharmaceuticals, which really is the word pharmakia means sorcery, their temples have been breached. We are supposed to be the dwelling place of God, the place where God's Spirit dwells in our temples. But if you allow your temple to be violated, you are now opening the door for these spirits to come in. And I'll fast forward up here to another part that Richie talked about. This is all tied into what I'm saying here with CERN and with the D-Wave computer. Here's a little bit I want you to listen to.
The D-Wave. Jody Rose is the money man behind D-Wave. This guy, for the most part, is one of the brainchilds.
I have heard this word quantum computing. It's often, people have the misconception that it's some kind of newfangled supercomputer. It's decidedly not that. Quantum computers allow us to access hidden features of nature, new dimensions.
Now, over the years, I've explained this ad nauseum, but you can watch D-Wave's own example. They send a question into the D-Wave, and instead of a traditional computer where it goes to databases, large language models, the quantum processor simply sends it out into the ether, solves the problem, and gives it back to you. That's what a hidden feature or dimension means. They're not messing around. They've told you every which way there possibly is to tell you.
Okay, so that's one way they've allowed the entities to come in. Another way is using, accessing CERN. What was CERN really created for? They said they were trying to find the God particle, but no, that's the cover story. What they were really trying to do was breach the barriers, just as Richie was so well was describing that. That's why they had the nuclear test and whatnot. They wanted to breach the veil between dimensions, allowing the other dimensions where these aliens, fallen angels, entities come in, demonic beings, come into our dimension. But I want to go further than what Richie said and here CERN is used as in that capacity. I want to go one step further. When they bring these demonic entities into our dimension, where are they going to go? Well, what did I just talk to you about? I just said our temples. We are the temple of God, but what happened is now people have allowed their temples through various pharmaceutical procedures and sorcery, which is what pharmakia means. They've allowed their temples to be breached. And now they have portals and inroads into their beings. It says here in Matthew 24:43, it says, "But know this, if the master of the house had known what hour the thief," that's the demonic entity, "would come in, he would have watched and not allowed his house, his temple, to be broken into." It's another way of looking at this scripture. Allowing their temples. What are they telling us? They're even telling us in Steven Spielberg's latest film that's supposed to come out in, I think, June or July or June, I think, of 2026. They're being taken over, and he shows us in this trailer.
If you found out we weren't alone, if someone showed you, proved it to you, would that frighten you?
Good morning, Kansas City. Let's take a look at today. Today's.
Okay, so temple. That's an example of a temple being taken over. The barrier's been breached. These fallen angels, these entities that have been summoned through all this shenanigans and necromancy and what Richie was talking about, the veil being breached. Well, these demons got to go somewhere. What are the demons looking for? They're looking for bodies to house, to take over. And through certain frequencies, they're going to be allowed through the 5G cell tech, because that's all about frequencies. They're allowing peoples who allowed certain procedures into their bodies. Their temples are going to be violated and taken over. They've allowed their temples to be taken over and broken into. So this is what is coming, and we've been told in myriad of different ways. We need to be prepared. Spiritually, mentally, yeah, and physically too. But your only protection is prayer. Prayer. Pray to the Most High God. Pray to Jesus Christ for protection, because these things are coming, and they've been telling us and preparing us and letting us know they're coming. And that's the end game. This is the end game. This is it's all about the end game. They're looking for bodies to inhabit. And if you allow your certain things to happen to your bodies, you let openings into your bodies, then this is the result, the zombie apocalypse. I hope I explained that well. And thanks to Richie from Boston, because it was a good video, and I'll leave a link to all these videos in here, in this video. And with that said, thanks for watching.